Caitlin Clark is the Sporting News Female Athlete of the Year. Caitlin Clark answered so many questions in 2024. Questions from critics, online trolls, current or former players, and of course, the media that was along for the ride. It was one final question during the last press conference of her college career that pried at heart of Clark's impact on basketball for generations to come. Just minutes after Iowa's 12-point loss to South Carolina in the NCAA title game on April 7, Clark was willing to reflect for a moment on her legacy, a legacy filled with dozens of moments that won't ever be forgotten. You've had an incredible journey to this point, especially with the historical viewership. What would you say to kids striving to be you right now? I would say I think the biggest thing is this is what I kind of said about my entire career is nobody really believed other than myself, Clark said. I think confidence. I think as a young girl, just have confidence, a young boy, have confidence in yourself and confidence in whatever you want to be. Clark continued her answer on the podium after the loss to South Carolina with a tribute to her parents Brent and Ann, an upbringing in Des Moines, Iowa. I think that was the thing that my parents instilled in me from a young age, Clark said. They never told me no. They told me no about other things, but not in what I wanted to do, and what I wanted to be, and the goals I wanted to chase after. You got to say it, Clark said. You got to work for it. You got to earn it. You don't ever want anything to be given to you. I've worked really hard to be in this moment. That's where my confidence comes from. That's the piece of advice I would give to the younger generation. Clark led Iowa to a second straight appearance in the Women's National Championship game. She scored 31.6 points per game and broke the NCAA all-time scoring record with 3,951 career points. Just 6 weeks after her final college game, Clark scored 20 points in her WNBA debut with the Indiana Fever. She went on to score more points than any rookie in WNBA history and set a league record for assists while leading Indiana to a playoff berth. The Caitlin Clark effect became the catchphrase when discussing how her influence changed the game for women's basketball at all levels. Ratings hit never-before-seen numbers, with Clark becoming the face of the marketing machine for State Farm and Gatorade, among others. Our marketing data demonstrates the powerful reality of women's sports. They are a powerful, digitally savvy fan base, and with a loyal and balanced viewing audience. State Farm Chief Agency Sales and Marketing Officer Kristen Cook told Sporting News, "We've been investing in women's sports for 2 decades because it's smart business to do so. Caitlin is special as a player and as a person." Lisa Bluder, who coached Clark at Iowa before retiring at the end of last season, saw critics look for ways to tear down Clark along the way. "I guess you're really good when people try to find fault with you all the time, and you know she went through that like people were trying to find fault in her when she did nothing wrong, and to me that kind of shows. Wow, you really made it," Bluder told SN. "She honestly is a tremendous human being, and that's what I wish that people could see is not just the great basketball player, is not the great student or whatever, but she's just a really good human being, and we need more of that." Caitlin Clark and the growth of college basketball. Bluder, who spent 24 seasons as Iowa's women's basketball coach, had the privilege of witnessing Clark behind the scenes, day in, day out. Yes, Clark is a true professional in the press conferences, media obligations, and commercials, but Bluder got to see the insanely competitive college kid who was a great teammate on and off the court. That is the side of Clark that is admittedly guarded, and with good reason. You know that she is amazing and intelligent and mature, but she's also this goofy kid that really likes to have fun, and you know you don't get to see that unless you're around her all the time, Bluder said. "I was fortunate enough that I got to see that side of her." Of course, Bluder also marveled at how Clark's presence resonated across the country. Rapper Travis Scott sat courtside at Carver Hockey Arena in March to watch Clark break the NCAA scoring record. "We're at Rutgers in early January, and there's people that have driven from Canada," Bluder told SN. "I mean, everywhere we go, there are people with signs that they've driven hundreds and thousands of miles to come see this kid play, or you even come from different countries." There is a distinction Bluder sees, however. and it is an important one. Clark did not just create a trend for celebrities and college basketball diehards. I think that she's impacted the game as far as the growth of young girls wanting to play, Bluder said. But I think also little boys in the way that they look at women that are athletes is different now. The 2023 National Championship game featuring Iowa and LSU drew a record 12.7 million viewers, a massive number. The 2024 National Championship game with South Carolina drew an astonishing 18.7 million viewers. The WNBA experienced a similar boom in viewership over the summer. Bluder emphasizes repeatedly that Clark brought joy to the game, even from some of those LSU and South Carolina fans each of the past 2 seasons. Bluder also saw that on October 15, 2023, when Iowa played an outdoor exhibition game against DePaul at Kinnick Stadium that drew 55,646 people. There were women that were in the stands that had tears running down their eyes because they couldn't believe this was happening for women's athletics. And so you know that just when you think about that we changed the game. We changed the perception of women's athletics nationally. Clark and LSU's Angel Reese split the Sporting News Athlete of the Year honor in 2023. Clark is the first female athlete of the year in the history of our publication. The Caitlin Clark effect didn't put women's sports on the map. Instead, it ensured women's sports will continue to prosper. And if you're looking for proof, all you need to do is look beyond the bright lights of college basketball and the WNBA. It is the story of who has next, the high schoolers and middle schoolers, that will be the measure of how much Clark really means to the sport. Caitlin Clark's impact on high school basketball. Clark knows the value of giving back to her community. In August, she gave more than 300 Nike backpacks to students at North High School in Des Moines through her foundation. She also made a surprise visit to the school, which North Athletic Director Chad Ryan said has the highest percentage of free reduced-rate lunches in the state. I just think she's a tremendous ambassador for the game of basketball and for young women, Ryan said. The impact she is making in the Des Moines area is incredible. In Iowa, it's kind of strange our top basketball programs are doing incredible, but then our bottom-tier basketball programs are struggling with numbers, he said. We're discussing Caitlin Clark having an impact on high school participation. My personal opinion, Ryan asked rhetorically. The Caitlin Clark factor we will see 3 to 5 years from now at the high school level. North sophomores Markia Wesley and Haley Weinheimer noticed a change this season when more girls decided to play basketball. That helped a team that had just 3 returning players. Clark's appearance at the school was a factor. It really inspired more girls to come out, Weinheimer said. Some girls may be embarrassed or not want to come out and play basketball because they might not think they are as popular for whatever reason. I think with Caitlin Clark, it's the effect she brought on a lot of young girls to begin to play basketball and inspire them. Weinheimer met Clark at an Iowa basketball camp a few summers ago, and she was part of the growing legion of fans that were at Carver Hockey Arena the last 2 seasons. Wesley is an Iowa State fan, but she found herself rooting for the Hockeys and emulating Clark's jump shot. I think she's given more confidence to young basketball players, Wesley said. I feel like people in Iowa feel like they don't get recognized as much. She really gave these girls confidence, younger girls for sure. Ryan has 3 daughters, Maya, Leah, and Tess, and they all love basketball. He watched their excitement while attending Iowa games and seeing the phenomenon in real time across the last 4 years. We're getting a lot more first-time players, Ryan said. Even for us at the high school level, I'm a former boys basketball coach. It's going to take you a year or 2 to get it going. It will help us and has helped us with numbers. Now you have to teach them to play. Clark's impact has been felt at the highest levels too. 5-star guard Addie Deal from Mater Dei High School signed with Iowa and will be a Hockey next year. Deal was willing to make the long move from Southern California and is bound to be an impact player in the Big Ten. It's definitely nationwide now, Deal told the Des Moines Register. Everyone knows Caitlin Clark. Everyone knows Iowa women's basketball. So it's been amazing to see them kind of be the ones leading the charge for women's basketball all around. It's so cool that I've got to see them before, them during and them still rising up. Addie and Ava have become huge Clark fans. The family from Pickerington, Ohio, attended the Iowa-Ohio State women's basketball game each of the last 2 seasons. I've been watching her for 4 years, Addie said. My parents told me to find a team and study them and become a good fan of them.